let's talk about the month itself. February is National Heart Health Awareness Month. Describe the purpose. What's the meaning behind the month of February?
So, as you know, there's a lot of health initiative, each one associated with a month. And I feel like we kind of put the heart disease on the back burner. It kind of got out of style. It's not what people talk about anymore. It's but that heart problems continue to be the number one reason for mortality in the United States and around the world, as well as the part that we don't talk about as much is it continues to be the number one reason that people are not able to take care of themselves, whether that be from heart failure or from blood vessel disease or from heart disease itself. So I always like to say, it's the beginning of a new year. People started their New Year's resolution and kind of, that had that energy and faded away. And it's a good time to be like, don't give up on those goals. Keep it up.
There's a couple of aspects that I want to bring up. One, given what happened on the football field in that Buffalo Bills game, Cincinnati Bengals game, where the defensive lineman or defensive back had the cardiac arrest. How much has that added to the awareness of this month?
I think that has been the first time that a random person would stop and be like, "Oh, you're a heart doctor. What do you think has happened?" I think that was the first time that it clicked in that heart disease is not something that most people would be like, it eases on, and I feel like something is not going to be right. I'm going to go see a doctor that it's not necessarily that I'm saying this is what happened to the player on the field, but in general, heart disease can show up for the first time in the form of cardiac arrest. And I think more people are starting to thinking, well, maybe people I love can have that, and maybe we should start thinking about teaching in schools how to get life support and do chest compressions. I think this was the first time that I heard this conversation being talked about by non-healthcare providers.
Cardiac arrest, is that different or is it the same as a heart attack, and are both symptoms of heart disease?
So cardiac arrest it's an overall like an umbrella term that says the heart had stopped functioning. The heart can stop functioning for multiple different reasons. Some of them is the electricity of the heart gives up, and the other ones is the heart pump gives up. But they're not synonymous. Heart attacks are one of the major reasons that cardiac arrest happens, but cardiac arrest can happen also from other common reasons is bad electricity in the heart. People who have heart attacks are the problem, or have family history of heart arrest, as well as big blood clots that can form in the blood vessels and go to the lungs can cause the heart to stop. So there's a few other reasons, but I think the overall thing to associate with cardiac arrest is this is care business. This is something that needs immediate care and immediate attention.
So we do these months or this month every year. Are people listening? Is it getting any better?
Maybe we get 1% every year, but it's still a progress. I still think it's worth trying to put the word out there, and something like what happened this year on the football field definitely got more traction toward us and toward the heart month.
What do people need to do to be more aware? Is it a thing of, is it based on hereditary? Is it hereditary? Is it a diet? Is it exercise? It seems like all that it goes into one big umbrella, and this is what you need to look at and what you need to do.
So I always tell my patients, there's a lot of things that I can offer you. None of them is as good as you stop smoking. I think that's where everybody needs to start. Smoking is bad for you. It's bad for every single organ in your body. Not a single part of your body has good benefit from smoking. But if you know that your family members has a lot of heart attacks and strokes, then definitely you need to talk to your doctor, be it your primary care doctor or any other specialist that you see that, I have a lot of family problems that are related to the heart, and we can definitely do some screening. Another thing that I like to tell my patient is there was a point in time that we said if it ain't broken, why fix it? I think we have, as a medical community, shifted gears and changed towards, well, let's make sure it never breaks. Let's look at those risk factors. Let's look at what could possibly go wrong and do everything we can to avoid that.
Is heart disease affect a specific age group?
We can see it in multiple different age groups. That's for sure. I think my personal wake up call was when I had to put a stent in somebody who's younger than me who came in with a massive heart attack. I think that was my personal wake up call. Um, it definitely does not discriminate. It occurs at different ages for different reasons. We know that men younger than the age of 60 are more likely than women. That being said, it does not mean women below the age of 60 cannot have heart attacks. And after the age of 65, men and women are equally at risk of having a heart attack. But overall, heart disease can occur at any age. And if you have any symptoms, those are definitely alarming symptoms. If you're having chest pain while you're sitting down, if suddenly your chest feels tight, you can't breathe, that's the time to seek care. Don't try to go back to sleep. Don't say I'll think about it tomorrow. It's not heartburn. If it's happening out of the blue, it's not heartburn.
Is it easy to recognize the symptoms of a heart attack and not slough it off as something else?
So, the funny thing about this is it's much easier to spot heart attack symptoms in men. That being said, men are usually the people who present later for care after it's been a couple of days. And I think it has more to do with, as men, our mentality is, well, let me walk it off. Let me see how this goes. As a medical community, we've been guilty of not being able to recognize women's symptoms of heart attack early on. I think in the last 5-10 years, we've made a great improvement in that field. But yeah, at the end of the day, if you do not present for asking for care, I cannot recognize heart attack problems if you don't tell me what's going on.
You mentioned giving up smoking. Diet and exercise, is that still the way to take care of this?
100%. But keep in mind, that's before the problem occurs. Once the problem occurs, diet and exercise are very important, but now we have a problem that we got to fix. We actually have data that says what's the amount of exercise, what's minimum amount of exercise that a person need to do to decrease the risk of having a stroke or a heart attack. And that's actually a very light exercise. It's a 30-minute walking 5 days a week. That's all what it takes. When we looked at everybody who works a 24/7 desk job and doesn't do any workout to Olympic athletes, if you walk 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, that will significantly reduce the risk of having a heart attack.
Along with a good diet.
Diet is key, as I like to tell my patients, which is an advice that I heard as a teenager. Abs are not made in the gym; they are made in the kitchen. You can never work out a bad diet. If you want to be healthy, it starts with what you eat.
I got to remember that one. Doctor, thank you so much for your input, and we appreciate you being here.
Of course, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me.